Sponsorship for today's podcast is provided in part by Austin Custom Brass. Austin Custom Brass is the largest Adams brass dealer in the United States. Adams Brass makes some of the world's finest trumpets, flugelhorns, trombones, euphoniums, and tubas. Find out why some of the most renowned musicians in the world play Adams Brass, like many of the brass musicians from the Rotterdam Philharmonic Orchestra. Trent Austin, founder of Austin Custom Brass, is also an Adams artist. You can call Austin Custom Brass today at 816-410-0826 to learn more about Adams Brass, or visit their website at www.austincustombrass.biz. Austin Custom Brass is located in Kansas City, Missouri. You can visit their shop to try Adams Brass instruments and many other brands of instruments, or you can call them online, have stuff shipped to you. They work with an entire band program. You can do bids in the PO process and fit within your budget and all that. They are an amazing resource for brass players. Check them out. If you could take a moment and go to thegrowingbanddirector.com to give at least $5 or $3 a month, and it helps the content continue to be created for you to help our profession grow. Let's go back to our scheduled episode. Exceclia Music Publishing is proud to sponsor the Growing Band Director podcast. Exceclia Music Publishing provides new music for concert band, jazz ensemble, solo and ensemble, and books for all levels and occasions, including a specially curated and robust selection of music for your contest and festival performances. A variety of overtures, marches, and lyric works included on numerous state lists await. Select music that's perfect for your contest and festival needs at exceliamusic.com. That's EXCELCIA music.com. Welcome back to the Growing Band Director podcast here with Jackson Smith. Jackson, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, Kyle.
Good. What episode did you do? Was it 121? Something
I have
like
no
that.
idea. It was my episode was percussion for the Non Percussionist band director.
Yep.
And that's how we got connected, and we've just kind of stayed in touch since then. And now here we are at Midwest and meeting for the first time in person, which is cool.
We were just talking about your concert that you were having. We were talking about what your groups were playing, and I was sharing some of what we were doing, and just figure we should move this conversation to be recorded.
Our conversation was really good, and then all of a sudden you cut me off and like, wait a minute, we should be recording this. It's kind of interesting. So we had our when we met, I was teaching at Menasha High School, which is near Appleton, Wisconsin. That was last school year. And then I've just taken a new position as the head director of bands at Neenah High School, which is really actually just down the street. It's also in Appleton. Or outside of Appleton, Wisconsin. And so now I'm in a new position, and we had our holiday concert last night. And that was my first concert on the stage in our Performing Arts Center, which was really cool. And that was both bands, all four choirs, and then the top orchestra and the top jazz band. And I was just sharing, we performed this really cool piece. It's an arrangement of Patapan, the arranger's Porter Item. I think I'm saying that correct. And it calls for 7 or 8 or 9 percussionists. And it's sort of like a fantasia on the Patapan melody. But it fit my group because I've got 9 percussionists. And it's hard to keep them entertained when you've got 9 that can really play. And it sounds like you have a similar situation.
I have a group that has 12 in it. And I mean, not all 12 can really play.
Yeah.
But as a group, they can really play.
Right.
So I was talking about how I've been doing Bach and Granger and things with the wind group, and then writing, vibes. And we have because we're a marching school too. So we've got like a bunch of mallet instruments and and I like doing that.
You have a front ensemble?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can customize the vibraphone parts for the kids that we're at where they're at, and I can write it for my students. So
nice.
I've shared that with a bunch of people too. We've done the Bach B flat and now doing the Bach G minor.
Yeah. Do you have those parts available? Like, are they shareable?
Yeah,
that would be sweet. I'd love to get my hands on those, because that's a problem. In Maine, do you have state level lists for concert band competition? Nope. So how does that work then? Because in Wisconsin, we have state level lists that we have to pick from.
Yeah, we don't. We just go to festival and you play what you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like the Wild West, the Wild East.
There's 7 of us in the entire state. So yeah.
Got it.
I love it. It's home.
Yeah,
there's no list.
So in Wisconsin, we have a class A and B and C, and then a class M. So class M is middle school, and then C would be, you can have some 8th grade bands that are playing really confidently at the class C level, or maybe even 7th grade, depending on your program. But then that's a really good range for like 7th grade through freshman or sophomore year, depending on your skill level of your groups. And then in my high school next year, we'll plan to have 3 concert bands based on enrollment, and I'll have that lowest group playing at a Class C level, and then Class B for my middle group, and Class A has a lot of like the standard rep stuff is on that Class A list.
How do you know when to divide and make more groups? Like, what's your thought on that?
So this year it's kind of interesting. Like so many programs around the country and around the world, is my guess, is we're just graduating classes right now that were really affected by COVID, and enrollment based on that. So I have 105 in my high school band program this year, but only 17 are seniors. And then there are 68 eighth graders in the eighth grade band. So 17 are going to graduate. I'll probably lose a few students just because of scheduling and sports conflicts or moving out of the district, whatever it is. But then I'm going to gain probably 50 freshmen. So I'm going to go from 105 to about 130. And when that happens, 130, even though I have a nice big new band room, it's too big to split that into 65. Those are really big bands. So I'll look to limit my instrumentation really specifically for the top group. I'll put almost all the freshmen in that lowest level group, and then I'll kind of work it instrumentation wise as best as I can for the middle level group.
Yeah. Because I've had friends who like keeping all the bands together. Like I have a band who had 140 at one point in the band, and he fit it into his smaller band
in
group.
one classroom.
But he just loved the freshmen get to play near the upperclassmen, and they pull them along. And obviously, we know what it sounds like when you go to conduct count one and you have a symphonic band,
right,
versus having a smaller wind band.
Yes.
I've always subscribed to the break them up. Like my groups are always 40 to 50. Like every group I ever conduct, unless we combine, is 40 to 50.
Sure.
And some years I think, I really wish I had them combined right now, because it'd be cool to, to have 22 clarinets instead of 8 clarinets. But,
right,
I think if you really educationally want to tier it towards where the students are at, how can you really take a kid who's a senior and give them the same repertoire that you're going to give a kid who's just out of middle school?
I agree with that. It's tough. I think, like, to your exact point, there's huge value in doing that, having the younger students sit next to the most experienced students. But I think the value can be gained in a really short, bursts. A mass band festival, or if you experience that in marching band, I mean, that's the whole point of that. Mm-hmm. Well, not the whole point, but you get that point across in marching band. In fact, you can make your formations like that. So your strong players and your strong marchers are near your weaker players and weaker marchers. So high tide will float all your boats that way.
We also have a couple times, I don't know if you do too, where we combine the bands in concert for specific reasons. It might be to end a holiday concert or whatever. So, then that group rehearsal is the point. Like they get to sit next to, all right, learn the name of the kid around you. And
right. We don't do that right now, except for every other year we do a mass band festival where our final piece, it's the Bandorama March, which has graded parts for elementary band, middle school band, high school band. And so that will be our finale, where we'll have all 450 kids across the district playing together.
That's awesome.
Which will be really cool. And if we can work the seating so that I can put a 7th grader next to a junior in high school, it takes a lot of work to do that, but I think it pays the dividends.
One thing we just did last week is we had I think it was a holiday concert, and it was a combined ensemble, but I was in the class on the stage with only the upper group. Mm-hmm. So there's a bunch of extra chairs.
Yeah.
Well, my wife, it was at her school, so she had 8th grade band at that same time. She just had them come watch instead of rehearsing. That they had just finished a concert. She wanted them to see the wind ensemble.
Sure.
So she said, well, why don't we put them in the chairs next to the kids? So then I was conducting the wind ensemble with the 8th grade band, kind of sitting with them, not with instruments or music or anything. They're literally just sitting there. So they're like looking at the music that the people are in, learning their name. And
gotcha.
That's a cool culture building.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're in there literally, but they're just listening and focusing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
What's something you do in your classroom that you think, whether it be like a way you say something or a method you use to fix something, like if somebody were to come watch you, like what's something that you think you do well that they could take away?
I think, actually, very humbly, I will say that on the list of the long list of all the band directors in this room today and all the people across the country, I think my actual skill level, I think, is actually pretty low on the list. I was never the best trombone player. I was never the best drum set player. Those are my two primary and secondary instruments. I was not the best conductor. I actually think one of my greatest strengths is in my social interaction with my students. Before our holiday concert yesterday, my fiance, she was helping walk around and look at everybody's shoes and make sure they were all black. And if they weren't black, they had to go get their marching shoes. And so everyone had the kind of their instructions. And my job was walking around, and I had gummy candies, and I was giving like gummy worms to all my kids before we went out on stage. And that's not in my classroom in a normal class, but I think that's kind of where I gain a lot of my ground with my kids, is those things.
Yeah, it's building culture.
Yeah.
I used a ping pong table the other day.
Did I see a photo of that? That was
Well, we always play in rehearsal.
Yeah.
We had a concert on Thursday night. Friday, during that flex block that all these schools have, that there's nothing going on. It was one of these days where there was no band that day. So kids didn't really have their horns. There weren't students around. It was like literally just this open block, and there's a ping pong thing next door. So I pulled it out and brought paddles in from home, and
perfect.
Man, instant culture.
Instant.
It was a lot of fun.
Did they start building a bracket and doing a tournament?
No, because they just all lost to me.
Are you good?
I mean, compared to band kids, I'm good.
Okay. Wait a minute. You are a band kid. So what did that say about band kids?
I don't know. I don't know. There's one in my school who has a really nice paddle, and he's very good at ping pong.
Serious?
I mean, I beat him, but he didn't have his paddle because I didn't warn him.
I beat him, but
you know, most of the kids they can hit it back, and that's about it. So,
nice.
What about like some pieces you really like off the top of your head?
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, I'm excited about a couple things, and the other piece that my Wind Symphony played, which is my top band, is called Wind Symphony, at the holiday concert last night. So we played this Patapan arrangement, and that was our opening piece, and then we played Variations on Scarborough Fair, Calvin Custer arrangement. Okay. Are you familiar with that? Nope. You're familiar with Scarborough Fair, the melody. It's just theme and variations on that, but it's really cool. Sometimes some of that stuff can be a little boring or a little like hyper formulaic when you get arrangements of folk tunes, or sort of like knockoffs of Granger or whatever. But this is a really good one. And I've done a lot of different Calvin Custer things over the years. And
he's got an arrangement that I've done once. I haven't done a lot of his stuff. He's done, the tune Ashokan Farewell.
Yeah.
That really, I thought that was like an old tune. It's not. It was written like in 1982.
Oh, really?
Or something. But I think it was just used on the Yellowstone season finale that just happened to. I don't know about Yellowstone, but.
And there are really like young band arrangements of that too, I think.
Yeah. So the one he has that I've seen is like a 3, 2.5, something like that.
Yeah, cool. Another one that I only came across because it was in the middle school library, and now 2 schools ago. It's a piece that's called Spirit Dance by George Farmer. Ever heard of that one?
I know I've seen George Farmer because I've done Whispers from the Heart, but I don't know his name other than that.
So we used it for our 7th grade band in Pulaski Middle School, which is up just west of Green Bay. It was my first full-time teaching position. And we used it when we were first working with the kids on groupings of 8th notes and 16th notes, because the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so they turn it around, and then you get it 1, 2, and 3, 4. It's just kind of an up and down melody, but it's really like an earworm, and it's a cool arrangement of this little thing.
I feel bad like we didn't plan this. In my episodes, usually if we say a piece, then we'll like listen to the piece.
Oh yeah,
we're not doing that in this, so
that's all right. But people can go, oh, I have to teach 8th notes and 16th notes to my 8th graders or 7th graders or wherever they are. I'm gonna check this piece out. I think it's must be still in print. It's the Wisconsin publishing company.
Larry, is that Dane?
Larry Dane Publications. Yeah, he's got some really nice music on that.
There's a piece I really like. I don't know who does it. It might be him. It's Gene Milford. Do you know Gene Milford's writing?
No.
Gene as in Gene. If people haven't heard his stuff, it's very good. There's a piece he wrote called Royal Oak.
Okay.
Which is like it's this cut time. Forget how it goes, but It's a great way to teach cut time. It's probably a grade 2.5,
Mhm.
but it also has a lot of shades of Holst in it as well.
Nice.
It's been played here at Midwest before.
Okay.
Royal Oak's a great
Royal
piece.
Oak. I'll check that
But
out.
in general, Gene Milford is a really good writer.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's going on for you second semester? Anything really cool happening?
I mean, a lot of things, tons of performances. Our bands are playing. We've got um, winter drumline. We've got color guard. We've got two jazz ensembles and combo and festival coming up and all that. So
Tell me about your combo because we have a combo as well. I'm always curious to see how other
yeah.
people are doing that.
So the way we've always done combos, we've had anywhere from 1 to 4 combos, depending on who we have at the time. Well, right now, when we came back from COVID, we had a combo one year, but then didn't
Yeah.
for a year or two. So that's like the last thing to kind of get back.
Hmm.
Um, so we do tunes, standard tunes.
Hmm.
Some years we give them the lead sheets, some years we don't, but we base it. We'll do a blues, we'll do a rhythm changes tune, we'll do like a modal tune. We want kids learning tunes. We want kids learning. We want to choose tunes they can improvise on,
Right.
not just, hey, this tune sounds cool. Okay,
Yeah.
let's try to do that.
Right. Right. My predecessor, shout out to David Dunning. He just retired from Nina High School. I'm sure he does not listen, but some people will go, I know Dave. So he was just retired from Nina High School. My predecessor is a fantastic trombone player and huge jazz guy, and he's the one that has stocked now my school's library really well with a lot of cool music. And we have tons and tons of combo stuff and all the different pressings of the real book. And I'm a little out of my depth with it, but I'm learning as I'm working with the kids. And we have just the one combo. It's really just the top. It's the rhythm section from the top jazz band, and then a couple of the wind players.
Yep.
They kind of come in and out depending on if they've got driver's ed or if they've got swim practice or whatever. Yep. But we'll do we have a jazz dance on coming up right after break, like the second week after we come back in January. And that will be our 2 jazz bands, so the advanced jazz class and then the intermediate, mostly freshman and sophomore jazz band. And then the combo will open the dance.
It's great.
It's kind of like cocktail hour mixed with dance at the club kind of thing. And it's kind of cool. Our new high school was built just last year. So this is our second year that we've had school in the new building. And we have a black box theater that's really a wonderful space, but that is constantly taken up by fall play, winter play, one-act play. They host almost all those in that black box. So for us to get in there, it's challenging because they are building sets and whatever. So our thought for this year is we're actually going to curtain off the stage of the auditorium, and they're going to bring the lighting rig down and they're going to light it like a club. And we'll put the bandstand at the very end of the auditorium stage, and then the dance floor, and then the cocktail tables kind of in the back.
That's really cool.
And then we're going to kind of do like a arched doorway. So the curtain will be open just 5 feet or something. And we're going to have someone build kind of a thing. And I'm excited about that.
I think just having a gig for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously you're doing a huge thing with it, but like they need to have performances coming up. So they get ready so much faster when they have performances.
That's actually, yeah. So the Advanced Jazz Band just played on the holiday concert. And then the dance is on the 11th. So we played just 2 tunes on the holiday concert. And then we have to have like 30 to 45 minutes of music ready in 8 school days or something.
I assume you're doing some grade 1, some grade 2.
Honestly, what we're doing is we played a concert in November that was called the opener concert. That was for all the extracurricular groups. So both jazz bands played, the show choirs performed. And then we have an alternative strings group as well, just kind of like a choreographed orchestra.
Huh.
It's a little mostly playing, but it's a little dancing as well, which is very cool. So they all have wireless mic packs. Even the cello players have like chest mounts, and they're walking around and dancing around.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's very cool. I had never seen it before. So my colleague, also a Smith, Bill Smith, at Nina High School, he's in charge of that group, and they're killer. Anyways, the Advanced Jazz Band, my top band, played the concert in November, and we played a 3-song set. And we played 2 more tunes on this holiday concert last night. So that's 5. We're just going to repeat them. And then we're adding 4 more. We've been kind of slowly working on them.
Do you know what you're gonna add?
Yeah, so the 3-song set from opener was an arrangement of the Steely Dan tune Peg,
Yep.
and then A Child is Born, which is
Thad Jones.
Thad Jones. I was blanking there for a second. And that's the standard arrangement with the really tightly textured
Yeah, everybody
brass
thinks
parts.
it's really easy. It's not. Yeah, no.
No, the kids were like, "What is this?" when I pulled it out, and they were like, "This is boring." And I'm like, "It's not."
No, you're being boring.
Yeah,
It's not boring.
That's right. And that turned out to be still it's still like maybe a little questionable because those chords are, I don't even know, you can't even call them hardly anything because they're just clusters. Some of them are just clusters. So we did the Thad Jones tune with a flugelhorn soloist, which was really great. And then the closer was an arrangement of Night in Tunisia, like a grade 2.5 kind of arrangement.
Yep.
And then the 2 songs from Holiday Concert were a really like burning fusion arrangement of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen.
Okay.
It's like Latin and then 200 beats per minute swing and then Latin and then all over the place. And then we had 2 vocalists do Baby It's Cold Outside.
Cool.
Which was really nice. So then we're going to add a essentially Ellington arrangement of Rocks in My Bed. You know that arrangement?
Sure.
And we'll have the same female vocalist from our top choir. She'll come and sing on that, which will be great. And then we're doing a waltz arrangement of Rainbow Connection, the Muppets, Kermit the Frog song.
Who did it? So I love that too.
It's really a clever arrangement. It's actually a flugelhorn feature as well, but I've got my drum major is our tenor 1.
Yep.
And so she's actually reading the flugelhorn solo line on tenor, and the other trumpets are playing flugel. It kind of adds the texture.
We're gonna hold while you look it up because we need to. I have heard this arrangement. I just forget.
Yeah, Rainbow Connection, flugelhorn. You're gonna cut this together. You're saying?
No.
Oh,
I'm just vamping.
You just okay. This is live. It is
Jazz Discovery Series. Yeah.
Jazz Discovery Series. Mark Taylor arrangement. Yeah. It's really a nice one. And then there's
Mark Taylor, who's never written a bad chart.
Do you think so?
Never written a bad chart.
Yeah. We have a lot of his stuff. And I think he's one of the ones every time I pull something out, I go, okay, this is probably pretty high quality. Yeah. So we're adding that. And then we're adding there's an arrangement of the Chicken that the kids really want to do, but it's really, really hard.
Is it the Chris Berg Chicken?
I don't know.
Blue cover?
Yes. Yeah. And it says very boldly on the front cover, for advanced middle school or developing high school jazz bands. And I'm like, this is so hard. What the heck?
Yeah.
Not a middle school on the planet that can play like this.
There's a soli in the middle of that. That's pretty maniacal.
That's really hard.
If you need it, I wrote it out for all the keys. So I gave it to my whole band and then just let kids choose who wanted to play it.
Okay, yeah.
It didn't fit what we had.
Right. It's put in like tenor 2, trombone 2, trumpet.
I forget. Chris is around here. We should ask him.
Is he?
But I haven't seen
We should ask him how he feels about the for advanced middle school jazz bands.
Well, he's from Texas. It's different. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Texas middle school.
It's still really hard. So we're doing that. I think we're going to hold off on that until the spring for competition. We'll go to University of Wisconsin Eau Claire. They do a really high quality jazz festival. We're doing one night overnight for that in April. We'll probably save it for that. So I'm blanking on the others, but those are some examples.
My jazz ensemble, we're in the middle of working on stuff. We're not going to play until beginning of February because we just had a concert.
That's nice.
We're going to do the Mark Taylor arrangement of Celia, which is a Bud Powell tune with a trumpet soli in the middle of it, which is really cool. Only I'm going to use 2 trumpets, an alto, and a tenor.
Okay.
On trumpet 3 and 4. The parts lay beautifully. I just had to write them out of Sibelius.
Nice.
Kids love it. It's an up-tempo bebop tune. I tend to do more standard jazz rep. And even though that's a standard jazz tune, it's like a contemporary tune. So I didn't want to do all standard rep. The second tune we're going to do is Black, Brown, and Beautiful, Oliver Nelson. I have an alto player who's learning that. It's just,
I don't know that tune.
It's gorgeous. And I mean, literally, all of the voicings are literally like a complete Mixolydian scale. Like every note is in there.
Nice.
So it's pretty dense. Johnny Hodges did this version of it's really good. And then Amoroso by Benny Carter. It's going to be.
So that's a 3-song set or 4?
Yeah, that'll be like for a festival.
So same thing with jazz. There's no lists.
Right.
There's no, you just play what you want.
Yep. And we'll go to our state festival. We'll go to the UNH Jazz Festival. We have our jazz night.
Cool.
And then we host a festival too, MBDA Band Festival, which is the main band association concert, wind ensemble festival, jazz ensemble festival. And it's the best because there's no numbers.
Mhm.
There's no scoring. There's no rating.
Nice.
You have 3 fantastic judges. You can play 1 tune or 2 tunes or 3 tunes or whatever.
Yeah.
We provide drum sets.
How many drum sets you got?
6.
You have 6 drum sets for this
Well,
purpose?
No, we go to that. We have a local drum shop who the MBDA will buy, or rent them.
Yeah.
So people can come without having to bring most of their rhythm section gear.
Yeah.
So they love coming. And then they get a 30-minute clinic afterward.
Similar to the one that we're going to, we do not have to bring a drum set, and there's going to be a lot of schools at this festival. So I kind of don't, and must be doing the similar thing. Like they're just, I'm sure the college owns many, and then they're going to rent the others or however they're going to do it. And they're providing vibes and a drum set for every performance room. Yeah. So we actually, when I signed us up for that, I could have signed us up for the competitive side where we get scoring, and then there's also a sight reading portion of the competitive side, or there's a non-competitive. So instead of the sight reading portion, you get another half an hour adjudication session.
Yeah, that's great.
Which we're going to do that instead because that's kind of where my kids are at. We also only have 3 trumpets and only have 3 trombones right now in that top group. Mm-hmm. And really kind of a wide mix of ability. And I'm trying to hit the center. I have a couple kids that are bored and I have a couple kids that are just hanging on.
Yep.
And that's
the longer you teach, the more you do it, the more you'll learn, and the more rep you'll know, and all that. One of the schools that's performing here is Don Zent's Douglas Anderson School for the Arts.
Okay.
And
where are they from?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
I just did an episode. It came out. I think it's episode 221, and I had him on remotely. We went through his program and all that, but he's got a list on Zents.org that is like jazz band repertoire, styles, all the things.
So, and on what website?
Zents.org. And it's on, if you go to the show, it's linked on there.
What time is that today?
No, if you go to the podcast show, where I had him on.
Show. Okay, yeah.
They play tomorrow at 1:30, which is cool. But he's had this list for 30 years, and people from around the world go to it. And I'm looking for grade 3 Latin pieces or whatever it is. So
nice.
That was a good one.
Wait, yeah, I got to check that out. What are you going to see today? You're not going to sit here the whole time, I hope.
Well, no, I haven't been. I just saw, was in Lake Travis High School. Fantastic.
Concert or jazz?
Concert band.
Nice.
Well, yeah, they were, insane.
This is only my second time at Midwest. The last time I was here, I was 21, 22. I was right out of college and I knew nothing. And so all of these internationally known programs or, publishing companies or arrangers, I'm just gathering information as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of walk around now, being 8 years removed from my last time I was there, and sort of absorb a little bit more because I'm obviously more knowledgeable and can handle kind of what I'm looking at.
Yep.
Or what I'm listening to.
Well, hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
We sincerely appreciate you taking your valuable time and listening to the Growing Band Director podcast. Your students are very lucky to have a band director like you. If you have any suggestions for episode topics or think you have an area of expertise to share on a show with us, please reach out. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your band director friends to subscribe as well. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening to The Growing Band Director. See you next week.